All right, let's talk about Now You See Me 3. Can you believe it's been nearly a decade since we last saw the Four Horsemen? Well, they are finally back. So the big question is, what can you expect from their comeback? Today, we're going to break it all down, totally spoiler-free, using a couple of very different reviews.
And this really is the question on every fan's mind, right? After waiting for so long, is the magic still there? Or has the trick maybe gotten a little stale? Let's dive in.
So first things first, we have to address the elephant in the room. It's been 10 years. A whole lot has changed since we last saw the team, so right off the bat, the movie has a big job to do just bridging that gap in time.
Now, without giving anything away, the basic idea is this. Our original horsemen get pulled back into the world of the eye. But this time, they cross paths with a trio of young, up-and-coming magicians. And that whole setup creates this awesome clash between seasoned pros and fresh new faces, all during a big, new global heist. To really get a handle on this movie, we're going to look at it from two totally different angles. Think of it like this. First, you've got the critic's take. We'll call that the head. It's an objective, no-nonsense look at what works and what doesn't. And then we've got the fan's take, the heart. And that is all about the emotional connection, the nostalgia, and just how it feels to return to this world. So let's start with the head. If you strip away all that nostalgia and just look at the film critically, what does it really show us? From a critical point of view, the film has some definite strengths. The chemistry with the returning cast, it's just instant. It's comfortable, it's fun, it's like they never left. The new generation of magicians injects this really clever, stylish energy. And visually, the movie still has that slick, theatrical feel of the originals. It's a really entertaining ride, even if it feels a little familiar. But on the flip side, critics also pointed out some pretty big weaknesses. The villain, for example, feels a bit underdeveloped, which kind of lowers the stakes. The plot sticks so closely to the franchise formula that the big reveals don't always land with a punch. And with so many characters, the team can feel a little overcrowded. And some of the magic loses its charm by relying a bit too much on CGI instead of good old practical effects. Okay, so that's the critic's take. But what happens when you watch this thing as a fan? Let's switch from the head to the heart. For longtime fans, this is an almost entirely different experience. The nostalgia just hits you hard. Seeing the original team back together bantering, it really feels like catching up with old friends. And the new talent? It's not seen as clutter. It feels like an exciting look at where the franchise could go. The movie still has that classic slick vibe, and there's a real emotional warmth to seeing these two generations finally team up. And this right here is the key difference. The fan review sees the same flaws, the weak villain, the predictable moments, but argues that for a true fan, that feeling of coming home to this world is what really matters. That emotional connection can make all the technical issues feel a lot less important. And a huge part of that charm, whether you're a critic or a fan, really comes down to the cast. So let's take a quick look at the key performances. Jesse Eisenberg just slips back into his role as that witty centerpiece so effortlessly. But according to both reviews, the real standout is newcomer Dominic Sessa. His charisma is apparently off the charts, and he just steals almost every scene he's in. Justice Smith and Ariana Greenblatt also bring a great youthful energy. The only real letdown seems to be Rosamund Pike, who looks the part of a great villain, but is apparently held back by the script. So, we've heard from the head and from the heart. Let's bring it all together for the final verdict and see what the numbers actually look like. From that purely critical standpoint, the film lands a 6.5 out of 10. Now, what that score really means is that it's a solid, enjoyable movie. It's fun, it's charming, but it is held back by playing it a little too safe with a predictable story and a cast that's just a bit too crowded. Okay, now let's look at the fans' score. It's a 7 out of 10. And I know, that's only a half point higher, but that small difference actually says a lot. Because that 7 out of 10 acknowledges the film's flaws. You know, it's not the smartest or most surprising movie in the series, but it has charm and it has heart. And the joy of seeing the cast back together with new talents rising, that makes it a special and totally worthwhile experience for fans. So what does all this mean for you? Well, the takeaway is pretty clear. You should probably head to theaters if you're a fan of the cast, you enjoy some stylish, low-stakes fun, or you just really miss the Horsemen's chemistry. But
You might want to wait for it to hit streaming if you're hoping for the complex mystery of the first film or a really tight, clever heist thriller.
And I think this final thought from the fan review just sums it all up perfectly. The magic isn't perfect, but the feeling of seeing the Horsemen again, that might just be absolutely worth the wait. Thanks for joining us.